Hello and welcome to the Life Insurance Academy podcast, where we believe that any insurance agent with the right training, tools, and community can be successful. I'm your host, Austin Lopes-Rivero, and I'll be taking you into the conversations of top producing life insurance agents so that you can level up your business, increase your profit, and maximize your impact. To be the first to know about new episodes and announcements, check out liapodcast.org/updates, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. Well, welcome to the first episode of 2021, you guys.
This is happening.
Boom, we're doing it.
We made it through 2020.
We did.
Amazing.
Happy New Year, everybody.
I mean, can we just all collectively a big sigh of relief?
And there's a lone tear. There's a lone tear right there.
And Chris, you know what? People can see that tear.
We are three-dimensional. Look at this. Like, I didn't exist in the three-dimensional
you didn't
world
exist.
before
it was just
we started
a voice
the cameras.
in a lab. And then now you have a face.
It happened.
You have a face.
Thank you for bringing me into the world.
Seeing your beautiful face for the first time.
Man, and if you're still in the car listening, you're like, what are they talking about?
Yes,
well,
that's got to be weird.
Yeah. But later on, when you get home or whenever, you can go to our YouTube channel, Life Insurance Academy, and you can see us. And you can see Chris's radio face.
You may not want to.
Radio face.
What?
I don't think you can say that.
Podcast face.
2021, bro.
No, you can see the
That's
amazing...
a slam against iHeartRadio. We're on there, Chris. Come
That's
on.
true.
We are.
Yeah.
Not sponsored, but we are.
Yes.
But you can see all of our faces. You can see Chris's... show them how they make the sausage.
We've been waiting for this moment.
This is the moment we've been waiting for.
On this podcast, we show you how to make the sausage.
Oh.
You push it down and you crank it, and it comes out.
And so
And it comes out.
if you're listening to audio as you have for the past 49 other episodes, man, just can't believe we're here at 50. I mean, this is a big milestone.
Yeah.
You're finally getting to see what it looks like behind the scenes, huh?
Man.
We're bringing it to them.
Backstage passes.
I don't know whether we say you're welcome or we're sorry. I don't know.
Probably a combination of both.
Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
For some people, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That's
It's
what those
always
guys are
shocking, and like I will admit, I always generally am disappointed when I see the person, their face
Doesn't match their voice.
I make a image for them.
I know.
I do the same
Oh,
what they look
my
like,
gosh.
and then I see them like, oh, that's not what.
So
I
you're
thought.
probably horrible at blind dates.
So we're getting into the
All
first
right. He just throws straight out of there.
2021. In today's episode, we're diving into the 4 steps to launch your insurance career in 2021. Yep. And Chris, who's this episode for, and what are they getting out of it?
So that launch statement is I don't want to say it's tricky, but it's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Because you may be thinking, well, I've been doing this for a while. I don't need no launches.
And I love that people can now see that on our YouTube channel, Life Insurance Academy on YouTube.
So it is for a new agent, but this is also for you folks who've been out there making it happen, been out there grinding, been out there in your career for a while, because this is a new year, and it's a new year, a new opportunity beyond the crazy ridiculousness that we dealt with in 2020.
Yeah.
And having a new mindset and a new approach will be helpful for you.
It's like last year, the tires were spinning during the burnout, and this year they're going down the drag strip.
Yeah, I've talked to several agents who've they've had this COVID fog that they've been dealing with all year.
That's a good
Not
word,
because they got the virus.
No, no, and they didn't even get the virus. No, I'm talking about just the weight of the world. And the thing I keep telling them is your ship is facing the right direction. It's going the right speed. It's hard right now. It's just hard. But when the waves go and the storm clears, you're going to feel like you're in a speedboat. That's what it's going to feel like, because
at the top of the morning on that glass water.
I can't make noises like that, but that was my best.
Sounded like
effort.
a lightsaber.
It did, but it's a boat. It's a speedboat.
That was a speed. That was one of
So
those jet
what's
boats.
the sneak preview? What are we hitting, maybe points wise, for this episode?
So by the end of this episode, our hope for this is that you walk away with the right mindset, knowing the right activity, the things you're supposed to do, and the people that you're going to be connected to, that you should be connected to have a great, successful launch to your 2021.
Awesome.
That's our goal.
I'm super excited about it, and let's go ahead and dive in. What is the first thing people need to do to launch their insurance career for this year?
Getting started, the very first thing that they need to do is set real goals with drop-dead dates, rewards, and consequences.
Man, this idea of goals coming into the new year, people are always coming out with some new goals. Like, I'm going to read 2 books every month this year.
Yeah.
And they didn't read a single book last year. And I think when you look at these goals, like, they're great, but when are you going to read that first book by? Like, this idea of drop dead dates, you have to have these drop dead dates to get these things done.
I think before we even get to drop dead dates, we need to determine what those goals are, right? I mean, are they little goals? Are they baby step goals because you're afraid of, well, this year might turn out to be another 2020, like rewind. Or we might wake up and the sun is out and the water's calm. And so I should have set a big goal and I didn't because I was afraid. Like I think a lot of listeners, a lot of agents, a lot of people in business and sales, we're kind of going into this year with some apprehension, and we probably need like a reset. And hopefully today will kind of help you maybe process a little bit of that. I was doing some reading. There's a guy, Michael Hyatt. He was the former publisher of Thomas Nelson, former CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishing. They sold to another big HarperCollins company, and he exited. He now has his own company. He wrote a book called Your Best Year Ever, and he's written another one called The Vision Driven Leader. He talks about when the crash happened in 2008, 2009, the mortgage market crash, and some of our listeners will know what that's about. Like, they were trying to navigate that. Like, how do we navigate in the middle of this crisis? This has never happened before. How do we set goals going forward? And one of they were just spinning. And I think that's where a lot of people are, So if you're listening to this today and you're still spinning a little bit, you feel like, well, maybe the fog is lifted a little bit on what's gone on, and you can kind of see, but you don't know, and there's still some apprehension. That's where a lot of us are. But he decided that he needed someone else to speak into his life. And so he was like, but I've done this, I've done that, and now I feel like I'm stuck. Like, I don't know how to advance my career. And he just got out of that other business. He goes, now how do I reinvent myself, coming out of a crisis? And his business coach said this to him. He said, what does this crisis make possible that would not have otherwise been
That's
possible?
Awesome. Yeah.
What does this crisis make possible that otherwise would not have been possible? So what have you learned from 2020? Right? Yeah. The 2020. It's amazing, like 2020 hindsight. How much is that going to be used in the future, right?
No kidding.
And what can you do going forward? So when you're setting your goals, are you setting them with some apprehension, or are you setting big, lofty goals? I mean, for us even here to launch this, we wanted to launch this and get on YouTube for this first episode today. And so if you're watching for the first time, this was a goal of ours. And so we hit this goal, but it's a lot of work.
We've been talking about it since we were kids.
It's a lot of work. So I think for a lot of people, you have to determine what those goals are. Don't let the crisis of what's happened this year limit that, but ask what did I learn from that, and why am I in a better place, or why could I be in a better place to go forward? A lot of us ask questions like, why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? I was just catching momentum. I was just doing this, and then I got the feet knocked out from under me. And a lot of that, it does give us some perspective, but I think one of the best questions we can ask ourselves is, what can I learn from this, and how can I take a fresh approach and take advantage of some opportunities that I would not have otherwise seen? Chris, you've said 2020 is one of the best things that's ever happened to us. What were you alluding to when you said that?
Well, it forced us to think different. We built out a phone sales platform,
a telesales option, for agents to call from home
with dashboard technology.
Yeah,
resources, training.
This was us.
It was a crazy
it was smoke coming from the keyboards, man.
8 weeks straight, just building stuff.
Yeah, it's forced us to be creative. I think it's drawn our team closer together. I think people feel like we have better relationships. We've just seen a lot of great stuff. We've learned things about resilience.
Yes, that was the word that was in
Yeah.
my mind. Yeah, we learned that we are resilient.
Yeah, we can make it through anything.
Yeah. And so if we can make it through anything, what are some goals that agents can set going into this new year? And, what might be some great drop dead dates that they can associate with that?
I mean, something for me is it kind of always started with income, because I knew when you look at income and you look at money, it's really worthless unless you're trading it for something. So there's goals that we have in our life that we want to trade the money for. And whether that be vacations, whether that be time off, whether that be a new house, new car, it could be anything. So like for me, every single year I had an income goal. And then on top of that, I broke that down, kind of reverse engineered it, what it meant. And I knew for me that I can't have a simple target, right? It has to be difficult to get to, but not impossible. Because the moment your goal is impossible, you know it in your mind when you set it.
Yeah.
And then that goal means nothing to you. You also know a goal that you set that is easily achievable, or maybe you achieved it last year, that's not enough for you. So you're giving yourself leeway and you're giving yourself an out. So when you start to determine what that level is, you start to say, okay, this is what I did. This is the effort it took me. How can I get to that next level? And when you start saying these numbers to your mind of where you want to get to, you start to get more uncomfortable the higher it goes, because it's adding pressure to you and it's adding accountability, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And when you can get to the top without going, there's no way this year, right? Right before you get to that point, that needs to be your goal. That's what you need to establish. And for me personally, when I break that down, I don't think about that goal until the end of the year. Right? I don't lift my head up to breathe. And I'm not saying I don't think about it. I don't check to see how close it is, right? I put my head down every day because I feel like every time I look up to check to see where I am at that goal, it's almost like, do I still want to do it? Do I still want to go towards it? So I break things down to the daily because that's where you win and that's where you lose. It's on the day-to-day basis. What we battle in our heads as agents in the car starts laying in bed when that alarm goes off. Do I really want to get up or not? Do I want to hit snooze 3 more times or not? Do I have my leads routed, ready to go? Regardless of the weather, rain, snow, shine, tornado, I've been out in all of it, right? Like, what's going to stop you or prevent you from hitting that simple, daily, achievable goal? And you make that a non-negotiable. If you hit that goal every single day, for a fact, you will hit your year-end goal. Now, there's markers on the way, there's checkpoints on the way in order to get there, but for me, the most important goals were the end goal of that year, or that time frame that you've set, regardless of what it is, and what does it mean on a small, simple, day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and Zach, to your point of like you have this idea of a big goal for the year, what's at stake for agents if they don't set that big goal? I mean,
what's at stake is that they might not hit what they didn't expect, what they didn't plan for. What's at stake is like you're going to get what you plan for, and if you don't plan for it, you're never going to get it. So what's at stake is the same. Do you want the same?
Yeah,
right?
If you're not moving forward, you're going backwards. I mean, and that's exactly how it is, because if you're not running for a goal, you're not mentoring anybody else. They're definitely not running for a goal. They're not going to be pushing you up. It doesn't work that way. And, you can't, I can't imagine not having that goal because you're literally going backwards.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. What's going to propel you forward? What's going to move that needle? What's going to push you to improve and get better? Because time is ticking.
One thing I want to add in this goal thing, I feel like Zach, you talk about the daily piece is very important. You have to find a way. This is for me, and I hope it's helpful, but you have to find a way to gamify your goals. Like it's easy in our system, like the system we have for our specific agents, because we have these benchmarks of awards. that when you hit certain production requirements, then you've achieved something, achievement awards. And if you're alone, you're doing this by yourself, it can feel pretty gray. Like you're just in this gray space and there's nothing to gamify. You have to figure out what that gamification is going to be. Like make your own reward. Maybe it's when I sell this month this much in a quarter, I'm going to take a trip to Vegas, you know, something like that. And I'm going to take my wife. We're going to go on a special trip that is, she knows it. I've committed to it. I've held myself accountable to that conversation. You know, and you're going to keep moving forward towards it. And you feel like there's some energy towards that.
One of the things for me, as you know, when I started in business and for my previous career in advertising sales, is we always had monthly and quarterly goals, and those were the markers to get to the year-end goals. And so we brought that in here. We do our Q1 meetings, and you know, we look at what this quarter is going to bring and what we got to establish. So whether you're an agency owner or you're a life agent or you're a manager and you have a few agents that are working with you, it's going to be important for you to set what those monthly benchmarks are. A lot of carriers have trips that you can qualify for.
Yeah.
A lot of organizations,
run for
like
it,
ours,
man.
we have trips that you can qualify for. And if you take those and break those down into segmented pieces monthly, then
Very
you know
doable.
what the monthly production is. And you got to set out and take Zach's plan. You know, you reverse engineer it back to the daily activity to get to that weekly number that gives you the monthly result. Most companies, you know, will give updates monthly as to monthly issue paid production, and so you can track your business that way. And so monthly is a great way to set your goals, and then quarterly goals. And I like, you know, what Chris said. Quarterly is enough where you can make some major strides. Like we have people that, you know, they set big, and we used this term before, big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAGs. And you can set them quarterly, and you can go out and do 50,000 in a quarter. And some people think, man, I just like to do 50,000 for the year. Like you can almost like not even have to work and do 50,000 a year in this business. This is so accessible. That number is so accessible. Like there's agents that want to do 50,000 in a month. They're striving for that monthly. And so if that's possible in this business, that quarterly goal should be something that makes you uncomfortable, and run hard at that. If you achieve that once, guess what? You know it can be done. So the thing about setting goals is that once you achieve it, it gives you a sense of confidence. And we talk about that confidence competence factor. Once you do it once, you gain confidence from the competence of succeeding. Quarter two, Q2, you go into that thing with some massive energy. Like, I've done this before. I've been there before. It's like the guy getting up, you know, Kobe on the three-point line. Like, he knows he's going to make those shots. And so he's just done it so many times. It's with confidence.
I think it's really important to also, to your point, Roger, to layer your goals, because a lot of agents will set one goal of whatever it is, and when they achieve it, then they really don't know what's next. And then you have this dead period where you're trying to, what can I do now? Where can I go? No matter what your goal is, if you're brand new and your goal is to hit that first sales leader award of just selling, you know, 10 grand in your first few weeks, combined, you know, to get an award. I mean, there's no, and this is exactly why we have so many levels of awards in our organizations, because we always want to keep people reaching. And then once they achieve it, they already know what the next one is there for them.
The thing I love about these awards is the excitement that comes from these agents, because not only are they just hyped to win these, but the organization as a whole that celebrates with these, and it creates this energy of, look, we set this goal, or I set this goal, and man, I know you're working towards that goal, and so let's cheer you on. And then when you get it, let's celebrate that. I mean, when our agents get these awards, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It not only
It's a lot
does
of
something
celebration.
for you, it creates energy in other people because it gives belief to them, right? If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. They are people, and I am people.
That's right.
And we can do this. I can do it. So as an individual agent, you need to have some of those. If you're an agency owner or manager, it's going to be important for you to sit down and work out what goals are for your team. Because if you're striving for the goal, but this is not clearly communicated on how it benefits them and what's going to happen, you know, how we can help the individual people hit their benchmarks and hit their goals, it doesn't have any energy behind it. There has to be buy-in from your agents. There has to be buy-in from your agency. So as an agency manager or a owner of an insurance agency, it's going to be important for you to sit down and lay out what those goals are, but get with your key people and help them establish their goals so that collectively you're working toward the same initiatives.
Mm-hmm. And Zach, I do want to come back to your point of these big goals. They take daily activities to hit them. It's not just I'm going to have a 6-pack by the end of the year and then I'm going to watch Netflix. I have to hit the gym. I have to eat better. Probably lay back on the ice cream a little bit. Few less of those Starbucks Frappuccinos.
This is a funny time of year, Austin, because you look at all these people, and if it's one of you guys, I'm sorry, that buys that real nice gym membership right at January, and then the second week of February, you disappear and nobody sees you again. But you don't want to cancel that membership because in the back of your mind, it's...
And you're going to the gym once a month to post that picture.
Yeah, you're still going.
They call that the rapture. Oh. That's what they call it. Like everybody just disappeared.
Oh,
man. They aren't there anymore.
It's a term in the gym industry.
Right. It is a term.
They love it, though. They get all this revenue, and then by February 15th, after Valentine's Day, it's like...
Man.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Zach. I think we did it again.
We hijacked Zach's story.
That's our first
hijack of Zach's story.
First video. You're going to have to go with it now. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Zach, that was Austin that hijacked that story. I just want to let you know.
Man.
Yes, that was Austin.
Now it feels like home. Now it does.
Well, go ahead.
I know nothing about working out, so keep talking.
Well, apparently you did. You both jumped in and took over. It went to you, then he hijacked you, and then you both ran out of things to say.
Go back to talking about
activity.
Golly. What was the question?
Daily goals to hit the year-end goals and the activity.
Yeah. So for me, it's a mindset thing, right? You have to figure that down to the detail, because if not, you let yourself off the hook, just like you let yourself not go to that gym anymore. Mm-hmm. Just like your knee hurts slightly and you forgot to take your leave, so you're not going to get on the treadmill. So these are the things. Or you buy an elliptical because you get a really good deal and it's real nice and big fancy, and you put it in your living room and then it collects dust and it's a clothes holder.
Yeah, a little old hanging rack.
Everyone's got one of those in their basement.
We have a rower.
It's in the living room, actually.
You did buy a rower. I remember when you invested in that rower.
What I need to do is hook up my electrical to it. And then, if there's no power in the house, then I have to do it. I have no choice.
No, we just need to put an accountability partner on it, called an odometer. Yeah. You can see how much you rode on there. But, that's the important thing for me, because it's easier for me to say, I have to get up. No more snoozing. I got to go, because it's that tiny little decision there. I can win that decision. And then I'm out there and it's cold and it's rainy, or, believe it or not, I'll tell you something funny. I went out in the snow one time, right? And, I'm really strong on my goals. I really understand. I don't know where it really came from, but I really understand that it's what you do on a daily basis. And that's when you see the biggest jump at the end of the year. It's a
from all those practices,
it's a summer,
basketball practices you went to, man.
Yeah,
as a kid,
it's
growing
a repetitive
up. That's where
drill.
it came from.
It probably is. Man, I got out of this car one day, and it's about a foot of snow. I'm somewhere in Indiana. I have no idea where I am. It probably snowed more. Everybody else is back at the hotel, or I don't even think they left the hotel. I think at this point, a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to just call from the hotel and do sales. And I'm like, I'm new. I'm like, I'm doing what I know. I'm going out there, right? So I'm being careful going through. The streets have like 3 inches of ice. Good thing is there's nobody else out. I'm like the only one. So I get out of my car, dude, and I knock on the door. I act like I'm drowning in the snow. It kind of helps me get in. And I go back to my car, grab my bag, and I turn to close the door. And I literally, like a movie, I went like 5 feet in the air and came down like on my neck, dude. On my neck.
On my neck.
And I'm laying there. I literally am laying in the middle of the street, staring at the sky like a movie, and it's kind of spinning a little bit.
And your client is watching from the door?
Yeah, and I can see the camera coming down.
Waiting for you to come back?
Yeah, I guess they were wondering why it took me so long. I laid there for about 2 minutes, dude, because I had to
gather you.
Come back. You had to come back into your body.
Oh my gosh, dude. And so I'm getting up, I'm walking to the door, and everything on me hurts. I don't know if everything's broke or just the entire right side.
Everything on him, including his bag.
Yeah. Oh my. Oh, I fell on top of my bag too.
Oh,
so,
dude.
Like it was awful. So I'm in the home and I'm building core and talking to them, and as I'm doing it, like I continuously get, I'm getting soaked. I'm getting more wet. And all the snow that's all over my body is just soaking through
Melting
now.
and soaking
and
through.
it's coming down to it. And my face keeps getting hotter. I keep getting more dizzy. And anyways, I'm going through the sit and I'm like zoning in and out, and I'm trying to keep it together. And I ended up getting the app.
That was the question.
Getting the app, but I came to a choice as soon as I left that home. What do I do now? It's easy to go lay down. I wanted to, but I had a daily goal. I had to hit, and it wasn't crazy. It was every day I went out, I had to write at least $1,000 in annualized premium of non-guaranteed issue, fully commissionable business. So if I write anything that isn't full advance or fully commissionable, it's a zero to me. Right. So it was $1,000 a day. That's what I had to do, or don't go to work. I just don't believe in it. Why go waste your time? So I wasn't there yet because this was in the morning-ish because everybody else stayed and I went out. But I kept going, and I think I ended up writing another 2,000 or 3,000 that day.
Oh my
But
goodness.
the good thing is, and this was like a Tuesday, right? I already wrote like $3,000 or $4,000 on Monday. So if you think about it, if I'm working 4 or 5 days, I've already hit my goal for the week easily, right? But it's not about the goal for the week. It's about the goal for the day. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what's going to happen tomorrow. I have to focus on this goal today and don't let myself lose. Don't let myself cheat myself, because I don't know if next week that I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to need spine surgery. I don't know if next week my car is going to, blow up, right? I don't know next week if Corona's going to hit and they're going to shut down everything and I'm not going to be able to work for a month. I don't know what's going to happen. I know something in life is going to happen. It always does. You have to prepare for it. What can you control? You can control the controllables, and that just happens to be what you can do on that day. What you can do because you're already out there. And I've always focused on that. For one, it's easy for me because mentally, I don't have to worry about the week. I don't have to worry about my quarterly goal. I don't have to worry about all that. I know if I focus and I master this goal today and don't give up on myself and don't take it easy because I had a good day Monday, that all my goals won't matter. I will blow past every single one of them. It's a lot easier to say, Austin, all I need you to do is, cut one neighbor's yard today and you'll be a millionaire. Well, it's harder to say, man, it's going to take a lot to be a millionaire. You know how many yards I got to cut? All you got to do is cut one a day, right? Like, that's the point. You break it down to where it's really easy and achievable. And to get my $1,000 goal for the day, literally, one $80 a month app, or two, because you sit with a couple, $40 apps. Now, how many leads does that take in order to achieve that daily goal? Maybe one, just one family, one couple, one person. It might be the first one I knock on the day. It might be the last one I knock on at night. I don't know, but it's a very simple, achievable goal. I know you've never been in the field, but these guys can confirm that's a super easy goal. It literally takes one opportunity, one knock. It doesn't even have to be off a lead. It could be a referral, it could be a clover leaf. It could be somebody walking down the street. One opportunity can hit my daily goal, and I'll make well over 6 figures. Over 6 figures. Just one. So I know if I've had the door slammed in my face all day, if I fall on my back 3 more times, I probably wouldn't be able to get up. But no matter what happens,
You'd get there. You'd figure it out.
I keep going, because even if it's 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night, and regardless of what happened throughout the day, everybody slammed the door in my face and nobody was home all day long, it doesn't matter. I keep going because it only takes one to hit my daily goal.
That's awesome.
What we're talking about here is taking massive action, and I don't know what it is about New Year's where gyms see those memberships go up right away, but there's a mental switch where people at the end of the year, they're thinking refresh, renew, recharge, do it. Like, that's the thing. So maybe
trying to get that turkey off, man.
that's part of it too.
Yeah.
That is part of it. Coming out of the holidays, you made some compromises and ate quite a bit or something.
And the
like
same
that.
for agents. They're coming off the holidays.
Yeah.
Gifts.
It's all the bowls full of candy and nuts and chocolate covered things.
It's going to
and
be
then the
way
desserts
worse this
and-
year.
Yeah.
This was a record year for
no
pool
kidding.
companies because of Corona. So many people have ordered pools, custom pools,
So many
in-ground
pools,
pools, outdoor, above-ground pools, no matter what. This has been the pool year ever.
Wow.
It's been massive. So you come through Corona, holidays, they're going to try to not only get their body back in check because they got a swimming pool coming.
Yes. So this idea of taking this massive action, like when I look at new agents, this is the conversation I have. Like, you are fighting gravity, you're launching your rocket, and it takes almost every ounce of fuel to break orbit. You have to do that. And once you get into space, I mean, based on the movies that I see, it's like little air jets they use from that point until they land on the planet. And, that's what the CGIs tell me. The CGIs are showing me that. But it takes almost everything to break through that orbit.
And here's
and
what
have
people
success.
forget. Not only does it take everything, but that thing is rattling and
Oh,
shaking.
no,
You are
that's a
on top
really
of
good
a
point.
rocket.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rough way
There's
up.
no plan B on the rocket.
Oh, no.
There's no plan B. You're going.
I should have worked at Applebee's.
Oh, no.
No, they're not saying that. You're like,
You would be a great astronaut.
dude, that would be amazing. And
Have
they've
you
got
seen
that
Rocket
ice cream.
Man? It's an old, silly film that you would love. Check it out. Check it out.
I'll check it out.
All right.
For those of you who want a current connection to that, the new series that just came out on Netflix called Away. Has any of you guys seen that?
I've seen
No.
it.
Away, Hillary Swank. They go to Mars, or they're
Oh, okay.
going to Mars. Yeah, it's that. When they
Yeah.
drop off the big fuel rockets, there's just a ton of fuel being
There's
burnt.
anxiety. There's like,
And until they get out of orbit, everybody's like,
Yeah.
on pins and needles. And as soon as they break orbit and they're clear and they drop those off, NASA celebrates.
and in that time you're taking massive action. And Zach, you probably can agree to this or attest to this. Is you remember your launch, your journey. It was the same for me. You're going to have more failures because you have more activity. When I say failures, doors shut in your face, people who won't set an appointment. You thought you did everything perfect and you didn't get the application. You're going to have a lot more of those moments.
I would say the more failures you have, the more successful you will be.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely.
Depends on how you take the failures.
Well, here's
Yeah,
the other
It
part.
depends on how
That
you
is-
take the
yeah.
failures.
If you quit, you don't have very many failures. You just got a handful and it's done. If somebody's got a long list of failures, they are resilient. They
That's
are keep
true.
going.
This is
and
true.
They're moving through.
Yeah.
And you'll have more successes along with the education piece.
Who was it that said, no matter what you do, if you fail, you're learning because you just figured out another way not to do it successfully?
I think you said
Was
that,
it
Roger.
Edison? Was it
I-
Thomas
I
Edison?
was-
I'm giving it to you, buddy.
Yeah.
You wrote that at a Tim
Edison,
Hortons.
Maybe.
On the
And it
back
was-
of a napkin.
You were like, hey, Rose, we need to... Wait a second. And then you looked up slowly and you wrote that down on a napkin. It was
While
beautiful.
eating Timbits.
I remember.
In Canada, in the snow.
Is a Timbit a donut hole?
A Timbit is a donut hole, yeah.
Yeah.
So strange. Canada is such a strange country.
Oh my gosh. All right. Back to activity. So
All right.
Last year-
Listen
I like
to him, McConaughey.
last year
Bring it
we
in.
talked about this idea of an activity tracker being a great tool for accountability for this daily activity. So when we tie in, kind of point one of set goals with dates, and then this idea of activity, like go through, set your big, hairy, audacious goal, and then break it down, like Zach said, to that daily activity, and then keep track of that. But it doesn't stop at keeping track, because if you're just accountable to yourself, you can kind of make excuses. You need to
Yeah,
take
you
the
gotta
next
put it
step
out
and
there.
share it with someone.
Yeah. This third piece is connecting with a running buddy. And there's another part to it. And tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Well, if you've got a real running buddy, you will tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
will.
mean, if you've got a real
Well,
person
I'll
that you're
tell you,
doing
man.
life with, they know your crap.
Yes.
They know when you're BSing them. They know when you're like, well, hey, I got to go home, because they're like,
Chris says,
you are so full of it.
Yeah, babe, I got a salad for lunch today.
Yeah.
Lisa's like, I know.
And
what
he's
a
doing these
salad
belly
means.
burps all night. That's not from a salad.
I know what a
Chris.
salad
Yeah,
is.
there's definitely, you got to eliminate the gray area.
You can be creative with what you call a salad. You guys just don't know how to do
No,
it.
okay.
You don't know how to do it. You have nice
If your
smoked-
salad has
The taco
more
salad.
meat than a double cheeseburger, it's not a salad.
It's a taco salad. Hold the lettuce.
Dude, you sprinkle a little lettuce on that sucker and you put some tomato and some chopped red onions.
So you're going to come out with a cookbook, and it's called All the World's Salads, and you're going to take every
All
meal
I have
that's
to
there and
do,
throw
Zach,
lettuce on it.
according to you, is write about one salad a day and I'm a millionaire.
That's right.
Dude, you'd probably be right. Dude, that's 365 salads.
That's right.
That would
Dude,
sell some copies.
I think so.
But this idea of gray area and this accountability, Chris, like back to what Austin talked about earlier, is a goal of reading 2 books a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you all know me pretty well. I'm not a huge reader, but I promise you I've read more books than you all this year. I've probably read over 300.
Yes, I
guarantee
bet
it.
you have, Zach. I bet you have.
I have.
I know.
They're all children's books. I have a 2-year-old daughter. Right? We've read them many a times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He said
So-
he's read over 300 books. He didn't say 300 times.
No, I
No.
4 books. Because I know what
it's
daughters
not-
that age. Like you've got about 10 books and there's 3 favorites and you just read those
Can
over
you-
and
can
over.
you
That is
quote-
not true because I had to build a bookshelf on the wall that takes up a whole corner, and there's multiple.
She's got to have
rows.
her favorites though.
Good Night Moon,
It
man.
rotates a lot.
Is Good Night Moon part of it?
That is one of them.
Dude, that's a great
That is
book.
one of them.
Yeah.
But so
Classic.
so
I'm tearing
yes,
up now thinking
yes,
about it.
I achieved my goal. I feel great, right? But realistically, no, that's
Right,
not
because
true.
you're not seeing the results that you're looking for, right? Like,
Well, he
I
did
know-
read the books,
I,
but
I know
he's-
deep down it's not what we were talking about. We weren't clear on our goal. And I didn't have an accountability partner. Zach, that's not right. You can't keep reading.
Well, you did. Her name was Ava.
Frozen over
Her
and
name
over
was
again.
Ava. She kept you accountable.
the to this idea that you're talking about of doing the things but not being honest with yourself, to an agent that might be, oh, I ran all my leads,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
Like, or I called every one of my leads.
Retire them all.
That's such a vague term. I worked all of my leads. You worked.
That's
them all.
the power. That is the power of an excuse and to
yes.
lie to yourself and to your
100%.
accountability person.
100%.
Is the vagueness, and your biggest fear is clarifying questions.
Yep.
Oh, what do you mean you retired your leads?
What do you mean you worked them all?
Yeah, you worked them.
Retiring.
Tell
is
me what you
different.
did with each one of
Working
those
them.
leads.
Yeah. You done knock knock.
I called them all. I couldn't get
Me
a
no
hold of half
talkie.
of them, and I worked the other ones, and I sold 20% of those. So you sold 10% of your leads, but you didn't even reach the other 50%.
You know how I can tell when somebody's lying? When they don't hit their goal.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason. I mean, if you set a true realistic goal and have accountability partner, your accountability partner should identify if this goal is really attainable to begin with, and if everything is, there's no reason you shouldn't hit it. You know what I'm saying? Unless there is this gray area.
I don't know if it would be a lie or an excuse. Right?
Well, I
Same
think
thing.
an
'Cause
excuse is a lie.
You get
Same
to
thing.
where you're lying to yourself.
Yes.
And that is an excuse. You're making an excuse to someone else. You're lying to yourself.
But it's very convincing. That's the tricky
I know.
part.
You convince yourself.
Yeah. So if you say, and this is going to be hard for some people to hear who are watching. Hello.
Check out our YouTube channel, Life
Yes.
Insurance Academy.
This is going to be hard for them.
Subscribe.
When you say you didn't hit your goal, you were lying. Because there are going to be people who say, I did the best I could. I did it. I did the best I could. And
I
you're
worked
calling
so
me a
hard
liar?
this year.
Why I oughta.
Do they have accountability partner?
Well, let's say they do.
Do the accountability partner is it a friend? Is it a yes man? Like
it
somebody
could
that
be.
just is your partner that agrees with everything you say and you control that story, or is it somebody that
And they
can,
buy your lie?
exactly?
Yeah, those are good questions.
Because there's 2 types of people you have with you. One of them is somebody that holds you accountable. I hope you guys do that for me. I give you full permission.
Yeah, you have
do
said that several times to
Several
me.
times because I want. That's the way to get better. That's the way to be aware because I'm not always aware, right?
Yeah. Hey,
And
buddy,
then-
you need to read more.
you're right. Thank you. But there's that other person that you surround yourself with that just agrees with everything and allows you, when you tell yourself these lies, you have somebody else agree with you, makes you feel even more better, and it must be true, right? So it's almost a massive negative in that sense.
That is true. It's like inoculation to the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are in
exactly.
trouble.
So,
Most of us do that in every area of our lives. Like if we're not winning financially, if we're not winning relationally, it's this, it's that. I did my best.
I'm a good person, right?
I'm a good person.
Because you don't want to lose. And so
You don't want to admit that it's in here.
but you never lose if you have that person with you. You can't lose because the game was never right. It wasn't fair. There was outside things that occurred that prevented you from winning. Doesn't mean you lost, though. Nobody's ever lost. That's the thing.
I think an important part of this is if your quote accountability partner isn't challenging you, you need to find a new accountability partner. If you have that yes man,
And you've given them permission.
yeah, man, like you're right, like
They have to
tough
call it.
week.
They gotta call
it's,
you out.
It's Thanksgiving week. It's like it's tough. Like they should be challenging you.
It's October through December.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting, this idea of, you just said like nobody's ever lost, and that's when we're looking out for there's these other reasons why that this didn't happen or I didn't hit my goal, and there's always external reasons. Nobody ever wants to look in here, but yet when you're alone and you're honest with yourself, the reason why you didn't do it is because you didn't do it. You didn't do it. So you feel internally, you'll feel like I'm failing, I'm not winning, I didn't do what it took. Externally, you'd never want to admit that. It's that idea of we judge others on their actions and we judge ourselves on our intentions.
Yep.
Actions for others, intentions on ourselves. It's not a fair assessment, right? We've got to judge ourselves by our actions. And if we have those people in our lives, and you need to get some who will tell you the truth, who will love you through your crap and tell you the truth, you will be a better person for it.
I think that's so important to become aware of that and accept that. Take some L's so then you can get some true wins. That's really what it is.
So when you're taking these L's, Zach, like how do we have this accountability conversation so we can get some dubs on the board? Did I say that right?
Some dubs.
Is it dubs? Dubs on your car, right?
Dubs.
Is that what you do?
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, a couple things. BW3s, right? Buffalo Wild Wings. Also dubs.
BMWs?
I never could
20-inch
figure
rims.
out where BW3 came from
That
with
doesn't
Buffalo
make any
Wild
sense,
Wings.
Roger.
No, never.
No.
It's frustrating all my life.
So, in our organization, we have this conversation. We meet people where they are and we help them get where they want to go. And I will talk to some agents who are like, what is your leaderboard? I want to be somewhere where there's, people cranking out 20 grand, like it's cranking, it's not producing. It's just, all this stuff. And, but this is the conversation. We meet people where they are, help them get where they want to go. Some people want to produce 20,000 a month. Some people want to produce 50,000 a month. There are people who want to produce 50,000 a year, and we meet them there, and we put a game plan in place and help them get there. So that helping them get there is two conversations. One, you can do it. We believe in you. Go after it. The other is get off your butt. Go do it. So it's a foot in the butt or a pat on the back. So that's what that accountability is.
Yeah.
But we are going to hold somebody accountable when there isn't the invitation to hold them accountable.
Okay.
And I think that's an important part. That you have. And you can approach it like if you have somebody on your team and they are underperforming, but you haven't identified what is performing, then it's hard to hold them accountable. They're just going to feel like they're losing all the time and they're disappointing you all the time.
Yeah.
So having that conversation, establishing what the win is, and then helping them understand, okay, we're entering into this conversation now. Sometimes I'll be your biggest cheerleader, and then there are going to be times it's going to feel a little rough. But you need that. We need that. And you may have to say to somebody, hey, I'm inviting you, Austin, into this. This is my goal, and I'm giving you permission, man. There are going to be times I know you're going to cheerlead me, and there are going to be times when you're going to put a foot in my rear end and tell me to get going. But, man, I'm telling you now, I appreciate it. If you need to record it, and then you can play it back to me when I'm pissed off.
Honestly, Chris, it sounds like, I was just thinking of this while you were saying that, it sounds like realistically you need a lot of vulnerability and transparency.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that
It takes a big person to be vulnerable and transparent.
And that actually leads to our fourth part here.
It does.
Listen, learn, adapt. Listen, learn, adapt. And if you aren't vulnerable and you aren't a learner and you have all the answers, you will not break orbit. You will not break orbit. I don't think it's possible. You guys might have a different take on that.
I read, or I was either watching a leadership video or I was reading a couple of weeks ago And the quote was, we can't lead people with what we know. We can only lead people by bringing them into who we're becoming. We can't lead people just from where we're at and what we know. We can only really lead people by inviting them into who we are becoming and what we're learning. And so when people see that you're learning and you're growing, they want to be a part of it. If you've got all the answers, you're the lid. Yeah. You're the lid. You're the lid on them and you. Yeah. Right? You just capped everyone's potential around you. So if you're an agency owner or manager, the question you need to ask yourself is here, what are you learning and who are you becoming? And are you inviting your people into that? Yeah. It's a big question.
That lid is a big deal, man. And it's not sometimes it's not just a lid. You're sitting on the lid. I mean, you're the weight on the lid personally for yourself. And if you can't learn and adapt, then it will always be an external factor. It will. It will be the leads.
You say this all the time, Chris, and I might say it wrong, so I apologize. Is it seek first to understand?
Yeah.
That's all about listening. Mm-hmm. And that applies to your clients. It applies to your agents. It applies to every aspect of learning, because if you're not opening to listening and hearing and understanding somebody else's tactics, their training, their point of views, their needs, their concerns, their goals, whatever, then you can't learn what the real need is. You can never learn the problem. And then you can't adapt and grow and get better and improve and advance. You can't. You cannot do that at all. Even in this list here, it starts with listening. Mm-hmm. Like, think about college or high school, anything. You have a teacher. You have to listen, right? Then you learn, and then you adapt. Mm-hmm. Then you understand. Then you can move forward with it.
Yeah, it's called growth. It's called I'm growing.
You cannot get better on your own. You can't do the same thing every single day, the same way, and think you're getting better based upon even based upon a week's production numbers. Yeah, 1 week might be higher than the other, but that doesn't mean you're getting any better or you're growing. You're not. You're only growing when you're listening. You're only growing when you're vulnerable and you're transparent and you're asking questions. No matter if they're above you, no matter if they're below you, no matter if they're new, no matter if they've been in this business for 40 years, is asking questions promotes listening, promotes learning, promotes growing.
One of my cheats I said was like having people in my car, training people early on. And when I say that, it made me be on the top of my game, right? Yeah. But the other thing was I would learn so much from these other new agents. And there were times like they would say something and I was like, oh, I'm going to steal that, and I would.
And they're there to learn from you, but you're learning from them.
Was that in your head
suckers?
Or did you say that out loud?
No, I said it in the sit, literally just like that.
With your head little shake too?
And my head shaking and my fingers, But that was...
If you want to experience all that you just heard, go to the YouTube
that's the
and
apology.
See that.
This is where the apology comes in. I apologize. But that's the idea of learning, and I've had these conversations, man. Are you learning from your wife? Are you learning from your kids? Are you? What can you learn from your kids, man? Mm-hmm. Great stuff. And even you're learning from Ava. Mm-hmm. She's
Every
teaching
day.
you.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely is.
The other big benefit of, when we talked about you can't lead people or you can't inspire others from where you are and what you know, you can only inspire or lead them from who you're becoming and what you're learning. It's the same thing for your family. And I see it even in my own family. Like when I'm leaning into learning and growing and figuring out something new, becoming a better person, putting new things in place, digesting new content, listening to new podcasts, reading books, like they see it. They're observing someone trying to create a better path for themselves, and it inspires them to do the same. It's going to have benefits in every area of your life, not just in your sales. Yeah. It's going to have, those serendipity benefits in your relationships, your friendships, the people you attract, the people you can have conversations with because of what you're learning. People don't want to know what you know. They want to know what you're learning and where you're going.
Here's the measure for you. Maybe you're listening and you're asking yourself, Am I a learner? Am I a learner? Here's the measure. What is your reaction? What is your reaction? How long does it last to adversity? That's it. That is how you know if you're a learner. If you're angry and reactive, and it's an external issue, like it's the area, it's the lead, it's this, then that dial needs to turn to learning versus reacting. Because if you can learn from somebody, it will up your game and you can transfer that knowledge to somebody else. But if you're always at the reactive, it is the external, then you have closed the lid. You cannot get better. You can't improve the situation at all. It will always be this way.
I will also say this. I believe that if you set big goals or goals for other areas of your life, it will flow over into your business goals, into your professional goals. Like you have to test the waters in other areas of your life to do things you've not done before. It pushes you, right? That's why these, business executives take these, go on these treks and they get away and they're challenging themselves. I mean, you guys know that I like climbing and hiking. And one of the goals that I set for myself a couple years ago, and I still haven't accomplished it, it's still on my goal list, kind of got, this year kind of messed that up. It was to one day climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Yeah.
And like, that's a big goal for me. It's climbable. It doesn't take technical skill to climb that. It just takes endurance, preparation. You got to put in the hours to get there, elevation, oxygen deprivation, all these things. But it's not like climbing Everest, okay? Like that's probably something that's out beyond my reach. Zach, that would be a goal that my accountability partner would say, you should have started a little earlier.
Yeah, day one.
Yeah, like, so.
You got it, Rod.
Kilimanjaro is possible. But then we broke that down. And so I've been to Colorado a couple times. We've been climbing these 14ers. And I will tell you what, I was not going to do that alone. I wasn't going to do it alone because I know what happens to me when I face those adversities and I'm in my own head and I don't have anybody there to push me. So I invited several people who I knew could probably accomplish this, to go there. And it took all of us, man, to get us to the top. And when you're at almost 14,000 feet and you just flew in the day before and your body's not acclimated to the elevation and the lack of oxygen, your legs feel like they're cinder blocks and you're just making those last steps to get to the top. You're like, take 10 steps and stop.
Well, and it's not just you take 10 steps and stop. The rocks that you're climbing up, they're moving down. It feels like a little...
like an escalator.
It's like one of those video games where you're not making any traction and everything keeps falling away. You're running up the down escalator. That's what it feels like. But boy, when you get to the top and you realize what I've done, it's an exhilarating feeling. And it gives you a sense of accomplishment to know, you know what? I set a goal and it was very hard and I was able to accomplish that. I can set goals in my business. I can set goals for my relationships. I can set goals, for every area of my life with my finances, my investments. I can do big things. So my question to you is, when was the last time you set a big goal for yourself outside of your business, something that you're willing to take a swing at and maybe miss and maybe not get there? Because there was people that we invited on that trip that turned back, that didn't make it to the top. And I don't know if they'll ever go back and try again. But there's other people that push through, and then those are the ones that said, let's do this again. Let's do this again. Yeah. When are we doing Kili in Africa? And so it was scheduled for 2020, and then COVID hit. So like there's lots of challenges that come with that, and there's still a lot of work that's got to go into that. So I want you guys to hold me accountable.
Yes.
To that.
Here it is. While we're on air, Roger, when is your drop dead date for Kilimanjaro?
Well, you can go 2 times of the year, so you got to go in like late spring, early summer, or you got to go in the fall. So we're trying to determine.
Is that because of weather?
Yes, weather patterns and when you have the most highest percentage of success for what those guys do, and it's
when the elevators are working.
Yeah. It's like a 7 to 9 days to do this, and so it's a big goal, and so we don't know what 2021 is going to hold as far as travel restrictions and everything that's going on. So there's still some question marks on that. But I want to do it by 2022 is the date. Yeah, 2022. So It could be next year, depending on what happens. So we're going to see.
So we probably will revisit this around episode
Yes.
109.
Well, we hope this podcast helps you launch your career here in 2021. And remember, like this is up to you as an agent, whether you're going to have your best year yet or whether it's going to be another year. And, just whatever.
They pile up, man.
Yeah.
Years pile up.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Is it possible that if some of our viewers send us what their goals are for 2021, can we post that in the show notes or the website?
I'll even do you one up,
Oh, he just
Zach.
went up.
We're not only going to share if they want us to for our Life Insurance Academy community to hold them accountable. We actually are going to give them a goal tracker that they can write their goals on with those drop dead dates and have in front of them. And when when they have a tough day, they can flop it down, Zach.
They
Flop
can.
it down.
So
Can we put that on the website
yeah,
too?
yeah.
Like I want somebody to see, Mike from San Antonio says he's going to do this. And Mike, if you're in San Antonio, that's awesome. I just really pulled that out of a hat. But that would be so cool to see it on there. And then they can go on this website and they can read their goal. They can read other people's goals. And that might realistically paint a picture of, is my goal too low? Mm-hmm. Am I the one that's trying to write 8 million this year personally on my own pen, working 2 days a week? So it kind of can work
too high.
it can work both ways, but I think that would be cool just so people can see that.
Yeah.
So we have some goodies. We do have
We
goodies
do have
that we're giving
goodies
away.
for them on top of this. I love this idea, Zach. That's awesome.
Can I make a book recommendation here at the end too? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Look at what, guys.
It's just blowing
too
up.
much.
Well,
it's
it's
too
a
much.
recommendation.
It's too much value. The food on this table is too much for
This
me.
idea
I
of-
push away.
This idea of growing and becoming.
Yeah.
The challenge is if you want to be that learner, if you want to be someone who pushes yourself, there's a great book by Michael Hyatt. I referenced him earlier at the top of the show. It's called Your Best Year Ever. You can pick it up on Amazon or Kindle. If you want an audiobook because you like people reading it to you, because you're not, you're a challenged reader like I am, and I have to listen to the audio while I'm reading, while I'm reviewing the text, do that. And he'll give you an outline of how to attack some of these things to make 2021 your best year ever. So there's a book recommend and a challenge for you to grow.
That's a great start.
And a life hack. If you like these podcasts, which you do, you're listening, or maybe you're watching on YouTube, the audiobook is basically a podcast book, really. So the audiobooks are a great way to eliminate that excuse of, well, I don't have time to read because I'm always in the field. Get the audiobook.
Can we put a link to that?
How much does it cost for Roger to read it to him?
I think
That'd
I'd
be
rather
kinda
have
fun.
Michael Hyatt read it himself.
yeah,
That'd be kind of
Probably
fun.
be a
I would
little-
enjoy it. Hey, could you just let me know? I'll read a book to you.
Awesome. Well, like we said, you have a choice to make. Are you going to continue with this, what you were doing and maybe
sludge.
have a mediocre year? Or maybe you had a great year last year. I mean, we have a lot of agents that had a great year last year. What are you going to do to make this your best year ever? Well, we laid out a few things for you. Set real goals with drop dead dates. Take massive consistent action. Have association. Have a running buddy. And keep learning, iterating, listening, and adapting. So if you do these things, you will have a wildly successful year. And you know what? We, like Chris said, like Zach, like Roger, we do have some goodies for you to help make that happen on top of this episode. So if you go to the show notes page, liapodcast.org/EP50, we'll have a place where you can put in your email and you'll download we'll send you an email with all these resources, a goal tracker to write down your goals with these drop dead dates. We also have the activity tracker, which we discussed in another podcast. We'll link to that episode, but you'll get that activity tracker in your email. And I'm just adding another one. We want to talk with you. We want to talk through your goals and help you figure out a plan to see those happen. So, Zach, the social posts, I think that's great for the accountability, but we want to help them bring that goal to life and give them that daily goal that you were talking about. So
Give to 'em.
all of that is going to be in that email on the show
do it.
notes page, liapodcast.org/EP50. That's liapodcast.org/EP50.
Can I add one more thing before you go? I had to jump. I had to get
Oh,
right in there.
too much. It's too much.
I had to get right in there.
I can't eat
Just
any
put lettuce
more.
on it.
Oh, now it's a salad.
Because this is our first video and people got to see us for the first time, we'd love to hear your comments.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We'd
man,
love to
yeah,
hear your
for
comments
sure.
about the show, about the podcast, maybe what it's done for you, about your highly disappointed perspective now that you've actually seen Austin and me, as Austin is mostly disappointed when he sees people. So maybe you can share that. So whatever
that sounds
it is,
pretty bad,
we would
doesn't it?
we would love to see your comments and hear from you
And
about
subscribe to the channel.
subscribe and share
The
it.
buttons.
And share.
If you think this is helpful to anyone else, just share.
All right. Well, we'll catch you on next week's episode, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast. Talk soon. Stay safe. Go be a difference maker.
Do it.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. As always, thanks so much for listening to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, rate us 5 stars, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. We also have our YouTube channel. Subscribe on that YouTube channel, Life Insurance Academy, and you'll get all of our new videos, including the video version of this podcast and new training videos. The Life Insurance Academy podcast is hosted, edited, and mixed by me, Austin Lopes-Rivero. This episode was produced by Roger Short, Chris Ball, Zach McElwain, and myself. Our theme song is by Flashing Lights. We'll catch you in another episode. Until then, stay safe and go be a difference maker.